What is the weirdest thing someone has told you in confidence? I had a neighbor who wanted to buy a wife. He wanted to get surgery to get taller. He went on dates with men, realized he wasn't gay, just lonely. He was on a 7-year dry spell, no sex, finally hits it and ghosts the girl because she was ugly. He ended 2 female friendships because they didn't ask him out. He got married for tax reasons and his wife left him for a Bernie bro. I don't know if I think he is toxic or sad or both. He also went to Yale and is a doctor. I had a neighbor years ago who ordered a Russian bride. She was absolutely gorgeous, like a model. He was short, fat, bald, and twice her age. One day as I was leaving for work, he was out front crying that she left him as soon as she got her citizenship. Like, dude, you bought a human, what did you expect? My wife and I were seated next to some guy who was clearly with his new Russian, Eastern Euro bride, big ring, he was twice her age, 3 times her weight, and he would talk about taking her bass fishing and hunting and where they would go in his RV and all manner of redneck things. Now, don't get me wrong, I am 100% those kind of redneck things if that's your jam, but the poor girl could not have looked more bored at all of this. And he seemed like a nice enough fellow, he was not saying anything unkind and he was trying to get her to talk about what she wanted to do, when no doubt she was just here to run out the clock, but it was so very sad. I met a mentally ill woman on a Greyhound bus once and she was convinced she was the vampire queen of Missouri. She showed me special crystals, she had that, proved it, and they were literally plastic jewels from Walmart. She was deadly serious and told me this after we'd sat together for 10+ hours and talked in depth. I still wonder what became of Jolie. Jolie, 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 I'm begging you, please don't bite my neck. Jolie, 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 please don't bite it just because you can. Not the weirdest, but this one freaked me out the most. This guy the first bought weed from and hung out with told me he had planned on murdering someone the upcoming Saturday, but now it was going to rain and that would interfere with his plans of disposing the body. Explained his motives, everything. I tried to talk him out of it and mentioned the police, and that's when he took out and opened a little box that he called his suicide kit and said the cops won't ever get him. This box had always just stood under the TV and I had never given it much thought. This was probably like a 30 to 40 minute conversation. This was 6 years ago and to my knowledge, he never murdered the guy. What was in the box, dude? Some pharmaceutical drugs, a syringe, some tubing. He told me he would take all the drugs and also hang himself in the corner of the room, where he could secure his belt to the bedposts. He said that by the time the cops would get in through his reinforced door, he would 100% be dead, because he's never going back to prison, was briefly in because of minor drug charges. This was his plan for any situation where the cops showed up, no matter the charge it seemed. Oof, imagine someone calling in a welfare check and he launches his plan B. That he put random objects from around his room up his ass when he was horny. The professionals at the ER are so sick of this. Just buy the proper paraphernalia for asshole insertion and save everybody time and money. There is a saying, without a base, without a trace. Needs a flared base or a trip to the ER will most likely happen. No flare? It don't go there. That they lost a tampon inside themselves weeks earlier and if I could help them, look for it. I can't even imagine the smell of that. You just had to type that. I sold cars. People told me all sorts. The one I remember is the guy that told me he was impotent. Why tell me? I had a guy that had eye cancer show me what was under his patch once as well. That was memorable. They'll tell you they cheat on their partner because they find furries attractive, but then when you ask how much they make for financing, you're getting a litter personal bro. Not sure if pun, but I love it. I was in a park once sitting maybe 10 feet away from a stranger. He asked me what hour it is, and once I told him he used it as a way to start a small talk, I felt he was weird from the start. Then word after word, I don't know how we reached the point of him telling me that there is no difference between swallowing your saliva directly, or spitting it out and then swallowing it again, and that he sometimes spit on his food just to prove this theory. At that point, the only thing that came to my mind is to stand and goo. Greater than telling me that there is no difference between swallowing your saliva directly, or spitting it out and then swallowing it again, there is a huge difference though. Once the saliva leaves the warm confines of your body, it cools down and starts to taste odd. Oddly enough, it is one of the only things that is likely to make me retch, and I have a really strong stomach. This woman told me she made out with a girl a week before marrying her husband. But her husband wasn't allowed to talk to a woman without her permission. Probably to make sure he wasn't talking to a girl she was sleeping with. I started a new job and the lady at the desk next to me was this nice, older Christian lady, and she just sort of told me out of the blue that she had had surgery on her labia to look better because it was ugly. I didn't really know how to respond to that. Oh Nancy, that's interesting. May I please see the before and after pics? S but not S. I guess that would be my dad telling me he should have paid someone to kill my mum when he had the chance to. TF, that's seriously messed up. Did she do anything bad? I want to know the story. Messy breakup. My mum according to him was spoiled and selfish, he according to her was a bad father. He cheated, he would take me to his girlfriend's house while he was supposed to look after me. I was the one who told my mum. They fought about every single thing and one day she took me and moved to the other side of the country. He said he'd leave his girlfriend and come to us, but he never came. I was raised without a father for more than 13 years, and at the age of 18 we met up to talk. That's when he told me he believes he made no mistakes and that mum is the one to blame because he had no contact with me. He spoke with such anger about her and was screaming as we walked. That's when he said he should have killed her. Earlier on he said that he kissed another woman other than my mum, his wife, in front of me because he never wanted to hide anything from me or have any secrets between us. I was 4. Funny thing is that when I was 19 he had another child, and the exact same story repeated with my little sister. She is 3 now and he barely ever sees her, although they live in the same city. You deserved a better dad. I am sorry for you. You must be sick of hearing this, but I felt really bad reading this. You must have gone through a lot as a child. I hope now you're at a better place in life. Thank you, but don't be sorry. Growing up like that has its negatives, but it also has its positives. It has matured me in many ways and taught me what is really worth looking for in a partner. I am happy with my life and grateful to God for whatever happened or didn't happen. Smiley face. A guy at work flat out told me he was a pedophile. He's a disgusting pervert and I hate him for the way he talks about adult women alone, but when he started saying disgusting things about very underage girls, that solidified my hatred for him. I've made it my mission to tell everyone at work he's a pedophile if he comes up in conversation, and have told around 40 people by now. I wanted to ask the office not to work with him again, but I didn't because I want to secretly record him saying something disgusting. I've only worked with him a few times after, but had my phone out with a recording app ready the entire time. Tell the cops. It might be the final piece of the puzzle. That's why I had a recording app out. I was never able to get proof though. That they think Satan has been possessing them every once in a while, and then said that they had main character energy. AKA a God complex. My buddy told me he really fucked up his neck trying to suck his dick. I asked if he was able to though. He was successful but had to go to the Cairo LMAO. Oto, he gets to say that his dick so good someone broke their neck trying to suck. I once had a friend, we can call him Chowder. Chowder just so happened to enjoy busting nut onto his own belly to feel the warmth. If this wasn't gross enough for you, Chowder would then follow up by rubbing it into his belly hair to let it dry overnight, and peel off the flakes the next morning. Chowder is gross. Chowder also stole my lightsaber, so he's gross inside as well. Lil crusty bitch. He crossed the line with that lightsaber. Up until the lightsaber I thought that Chowder might be original poster in a moment of realization. But ol' splooge flake done did homeboy dirty, pinching a mont's lightsaber, jeez. Once a girl confessed to me she had recently gone home so drunk that she ate an entire bodega sandwich with the wrapper still on. She was constipated for like 3 days and then pooped the wrapper out. Sounds like something my lab would do. A county worker said his friend liked getting pegged. He was sharing without me even asking. I think it was him that liked getting pegged. Not kink shaming, but I didn't even ask. I hate when they do that. Used to have a friend who was in a polyamorous relationship and she would always go on and on about it. We met at a burger joint once and she was just shouting these intimate things as if we were the only people there. I didn't ask. I don't want to hear it, and I certainly don't want these mental images in my head. My dad says shit sometimes and I wonder if he cares what people think about him. A few weeks ago he told me that there was a woman he dated when he was in his senior years of high school and he was like legit Facebook stalking her. He said he would read all of her posts and comment on everything she posted or was tagged in or even just liked. He said he wanted to reconnect with her and see if the chemistry was still there and catch up with her. This fucking guy is married to a really lovely woman. My stepmother is top tier awesome, and he's over here trying to rekindle shit from 50 years ago. The story of how he ended up with my stepmother instead of my mother is eerily similar, but it infuriates me, so I'll just say this. After my parents split up and he was living with my stepmother, he told me one day that he was waiting for her to be single again so he could leave my mom and be with my stepmom. Like what in the actual fuck, dad? Question mark. Your dad has got serious, grass is always greener, syndrome. My brothers call it a wandering eye. This one woman said it wasn't worth it and she wouldn't recommend doing it cosmetically, but it was significantly easier for her to suck dick since she had lost all her top teeth. A guy told me and that woman that he didn't use lube for anal. He and I were both gay, and she was bi. He just used his own saliva. She and I just looked dumbstruck until I said, "How much saliva do you make?" He then spit on the ground for us, and was surprised to learn that that was not a normal amount. Greater than this one woman said it wasn't worth it and she wouldn't recommend doing it cosmetically, but it was significantly easier for her to suck dick since she had lost all her top teeth. I read this to my girlfriend, and she said, "Does she have a flat head too?" I was like 18 and we were partying on drugs, and this girl which was like the same age told me she has been pregnant and made the baby go away with heavy meth use. It's called alternative medicine. I guess crystals actually worked that time. A friend told me that he wanted to try anal with his girlfriend, but she said that if he wanted to put something in her butt then she gets to put something in his ass first, so my guy handed her a Sharpie. Sharpie no cap.